everybody. It's Miss Behrens, and today I have a social studies writing assignment for you. We're going to be learning about how to conduct research and using that to explore pre-Columbian societies. You will need your iPad. On your iPad, you will need to know exactly where your GeoSprite table is. It should be in your docs. And if you want to use paper and pencil to help you with your research, you can grab that as well. Here are the learning targets for today. I can list 5 steps to conducting research on a topic. I can apply these 5 steps and conduct research independently. I can share my findings through writing. Now first, let's figure out where we are in history for today. On the top of this screen, you will see a bunch of colors and a line. This is a timeline that spans from before 1500. So over here in this corner, this is kind of like around the 1400 mark. And it goes all the way down to 2021. We are here at the end of the timeline. You'll see below we have labels for each of these eras or periods. The pink is the Pre-Columbian era, that is before 1500. The green would be European colonization and settlement. That's when the European settlers came across the ocean and landed in North America, decided to colonize the area. Then we move into this blue era. This would be the Revolution and a new nation when the United States was formed as its own independent country. The orange is Western expansion and the Civil War. That's when European settlers moved westward across the nation, taking more land, and they also fought the Civil War. And finally, purple is the modern era. So like I said, we're going to be focusing way back here in the pink today. Just one question, pulling off of our map reading skills. What is the scale of this timeline? Based on what you can see in terms of years and how long each segment is, what is the scale of the timeline? Think about that for just a moment. If you said that each segment is equal to 100 years, you are exactly correct. So looking over history, if we are over here in 2021 and we hop back, that would be 1900, 1800, 1700, 1600, 1500, and 1400. Each segment is 100 years. We're going way back in history today. Let's talk about pre-Columbian societies quickly. So before the Europeans arrived in what we now call the United States, there were a number of societies that were already established in the area. Thousands of years ago, the first North Americans likely crossed the land bridge between Siberia and Alaska. Glaciation, or big, huge sheets of ice, made it possible for these people to migrate from continent to continent over what is now the ocean. Gradually, these people spread throughout North, Central, and South America. These people lived a nomadic lifestyle, moving from place to place to meet their needs for survival. In time, diverse groups emerged as groups of people settled in different regions. The following are a few examples of these historical cultures. On this screen, you'll see 2 maps. On the left, we're focused on the lower 48 states here and Canada. And on the right, we see all of North America, Central America, and South America. You can see that nearly all of the areas shown on these maps were part of the land of a historical culture or a pre-Columbian society. We have some of the names listed there, and they correlate with different colors on the maps. We're going to be exploring a few of these a little bit deeper today, learning more about what the first societies of the Americas were like, and practicing some research skills. There are 5 steps that we are going to follow today that will lead us through conducting online research or finding information about a topic. These 5 steps are: number 1, prepare. Number 2, search. Number 3, evaluate. Number 4, record. And number 5, cite. Let's talk about step number 1, prepare. Before you do any sort of searching or any type of research, you need to prepare to figure out what you want to know. Step 1 includes deciding your topic or your focus. Today you will decide which pre-Columbian society you want to learn more about. Determine what you want to know. Figure out what questions to ask. And finally, list some keywords or phrases that are related to your topic. This will help us know what information we are looking for and give us some ideas of how to find it. Step 2, search. Take some of those keywords and phrases that you came up with, or your questions, and enter them into your search engine. This might be Google. It might also be a more directed search engine, like some of the ones that we find on the Media Center website for Parkview. It's important to use multiple search engines or multiple sources to find information. And finally, if you're having trouble finding the information you are looking for, try rewording your question or your phrase, and it might pull up some new sources that are closer to what you want. Step 3 is super important. Step 3 is evaluate. As you are conducting searches, it is super important that we ask ourselves whether the source we find is legit or not. As you're finding information, ask yourself some of these questions. Who wrote this? Is this source up to date or is it outdated? Is it reliable? Is the information I found true? And how do I know? Make sure that any place or any source you are getting information from is up to date and reliable. It comes from a knowledgeable source, someone that you can trust. Step 4 is record. As you are conducting your research, record your findings. Write down the information in an organized way. Summarize information as you write it down. That means to put it in your own words. Or you can write direct quotes from sources and put them in quotation marks. Finally, step 5, this is also a very important step. Cite your source. To cite a source means to give props, give the, what's the word I'm looking for? Giving the credit, there we go. Give the credit to the place that originally gave you that information. If we do research and we take information and then present it as our own, that is kind of the same as stealing, and it's actually illegal. So in order to avoid getting in trouble or copying, stealing things from other people, we have to cite our source. As you're doing your research, make sure that you write down all the important information about the source that gave you your information. That would be the title and the author who wrote it, the copyright date, so when it was published. And if it's a website, you would write down the web address and when you went to the website. Or if you're looking in a book or a magazine, you write down the publisher and the location of where it was published. Now it is our job to practice using these steps. Today you are going to choose one of the pre-Columbian societies that existed in North America. You are going to follow the 5 steps we just talked about to conducting online research to find information about the society you choose. Use the attached document to help you find sources. When you go into Schoology, you will find a document attached that looks like this. Each of these links will take you to a reliable source that you can use to find information about that society. After you've done some exploring and looked for some information, you are going to organize and record the information you find by filling out a new row in your GeoSprite table. All of you should have a GeoSprite that looks like this. Pull this over real quick. Saved in your Google Docs. Today what you're going to do is add the name of the society that you choose right here. That would be, maybe I'm going to do the Maya. And then each of these boxes will be a place for you to record information that you find when doing your own research. And finally, as you are conducting your research, be sure to cite your sources next to the information you record. So if I go back to my GeoSprite table, I might use multiple sources to find information today. So if I find information about the social characteristics and structures at a website called Maya History, I would record the website name. I would record the date that I visited it. I would record the author. Maybe their name was Steph Bruins. And I would record the copyright date, 2021. That's just an example of how you're going to add your citations into the table. As always, do your best work. See the assignment in Schoology for all the resources you will need, and have fun conducting your own research.